Susan, and the next question will go to Tim and then Marty after that. And we'll give everybody a couple minutes to give us their thoughts. I will start by saying that since 2009, the federal government has initiated two major programs that have both been labeled as economic stimulus efforts. The American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009 under President Obama, and the Tax Cuts and Job Act of 2017 under President Trump. Both have added to a growing long-term U.S. deficit, but both were billed as short-term economic stimulus plans. Can you please each give us your thoughts on both of those, both tax cuts and spending as stimulus, your preferred approach or your own ideas around those programs? I'll start with you.
Sure, thank you. Well, let me first start by saying I don't think we should be looking backward towards something like a 2009 stimulus plan. We were coming out of a recession then. It was a good strategy at the time. It's not the strategy that we need now. I think we always need to be looking forward. We need to focus on smart, strategic measures that will help to build our infrastructure, that will help to develop job opportunities. We'll make sure that we have a workforce that is well trained, and also that makes people who are prospective employees look ahead to what the jobs of the future are, what the industries of the future are. I also think we very much need to make sure that those are the kinds of industries that we're bringing to the Lehigh Valley. We don't want to get stuck in the present. We certainly don't want to look back. We want to look ahead to what the future industries are and what we should be bringing here. As for the tax bill in December of 2017, I think that, well, I'm the first to say we need comprehensive tax reform. I think it needs to be simplified and needs to be fair, but I don't think that's what happened in December. I think it was a fiscally irresponsible bill that's added nearly $2 trillion to our deficit. Now the conversation in Washington has shifted to how are we going to pay for that tax bill. And what we need to be focused on is supporting jobs training and rebuilding our local infrastructure, as I said. And that's what I want to see us do. I want to see Congress and Washington partner with our local communities, for, in my case, with the Lehigh Valley and the rest of the 7th District, to make sure that we're engaging in that kind of strategic thinking.
Thank you. Tim?
So what I've observed over my entire career in terms of having a healthy economy, the backbone of it, at its simplest level, is keeping taxes low, keeping sensible regulation, free trade, balanced budgets. These are the most important things that we can do. And what that does is fosters the proper environment for growth and prosperity to happen. And I think that that is something that, unfortunately, both parties at different times have ignored these lessons and created a lot of problems for us for where we are right now. Now, the good news is, of course, that we've had 10 years of growth, of which I think was accelerated the last couple years, and that's good. The tax cuts that were put in place, I was working at FMZ at the time, and a lot of the business owners I talked to spoke highly about these tax cuts and how much they needed them and how they helped them, and I think that was good. The problem, of course, is that we didn't cut spending at the same time. And that, a lot of that is, this has been something that is a bipartisan issue that we've been facing for 20 years of irresponsible spending that is putting us in a very dangerous position. Now, I don't want to be too negative about this because, again, I think the economy is very strong right now. But if we want it to continue to be strong, we have to address the fundamentals of it. We have to cut spending. At this moment in time, we have $21 trillion in debt. We're going to spend about this year $400 billion or so just on interest on the debt. That's going to rise in a short amount of time to about $1 trillion, keeping in mind just on interest, which that's more than what we spend on our military. So both sides have continued this just irresponsible spending in the face of calamity, essentially. And if we don't get it under control, which is going to require an adult conversation about ways to do that, which will be reforming programs like Social Security and Medicare. It'll be facing the fact that we spend more than the next 7 countries combined on military spending. We're going to have to do these things, and we're going to need common sense, regular people to have a conversation that people in Washington refuse to have. So,
And Tim, I'm gonna need to move on to Marty.
okay.
Or just- I don't want to create your ending, if you want to end.
No, that was a good ending. I was starting to bloviate. I guess I've been a politician for too long now.
Yeah, you've got the run on down. No.
Yeah.
Marty, I'm gonna go to you with the same question about the 09 and
Yeah,
17.
absolutely. You know, tax cuts spur economic growth, period. We know that. All we have to do is look at the tremendous effect that last year's tax cuts have had on our economy. You know, at our last LVEDC board meeting, Don announced that Lehigh Valley's economy is booming. GDP for this region alone is at $40 billion. That's about how many signs I see Tim Silfies are out there, and it's almost as much money as Susan raised. But and that growth is a direct result of tax cuts passed last year, there's no doubt about that. And the administration's tax cuts have also had tremendous effects across the economy, across the nation. And particularly, businesses in our region are increasing wages, providing bonuses, hiring more people, and actually many businesses are having difficulty finding workers. I'm seeing that while I'm out there campaigning right now. There's a workforce shortage out there. So let's not forget, unemployment is now at a 50-year low. More people are working than ever. More jobs, lower taxes, better future. We should continue with that. Tax cuts are working.
Thank you, Marty. Tim, I'm gonna start